There we go. Thank you everyone for joining our event today with Accenture India. And I'm now going to introduce you to our speakers today. Our first speaker is Mamta, who is a Managing Director at AI Hub Accenture India. So with more than 15 years of experience, Mamta is a Managing Director, Global AI Hub at Accenture. In her current role, she is the retail analytics lead for the global clients. Her team comprising enthusiastic and talented data scientists, machine learning engineers, data engineers, and data analysts who leverage industry-leading technologies such as machine learning, cloud computing, etc., to make AI everyone's business. Innovation ranks top of Mamta's leadership DNA. She holds several industry-relevant research papers, offerings, and pendants in her name. And Mamta also leads the Accenture's Global Advanced Analytics Women Forum. The forum fosters a culture and innovation among women to create solutions for day-to-day challenges using AI and intelligent insights garnered by data science. Mamta loves sharing what she's learned over years. She has been helping national, international universities in designing their advanced analytics program. And she is an AI and machine learning mentor on various analytics forums to help upcoming data science and the talent. So next we have Reema. Reema is a data science manager at Accenture India. She's a data science enthusiast with 8+ years of consulting, applied intelligence, and in customer and people analytics domain. She has extensive experience in Python, R, and SAS coding, apart from machine learning and deep learning algorithms. She leads a team of data scientists and data engineers to deliver data-driven consulting projects in the retail industry. And she is a contributor to thought leadership, white papers, and patents. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm now going to pass you on over to our speakers and let you take over.
Thank you so much, Sapphire. Hello, everyone. I can't really express how excited we both are to talk to all of you today. Thank you, Women Who Code, for the opportunity to share our innovation with the community. And I also wanted to take an opportunity to thank our Accenture Patent Program for recognizing this work as a novel innovation worth patenting. Just so that everyone knows, Accenture has a very strong patenting program where everyone in the organization can request to file their innovation with the patent office. So with that, let me just give you a little bit of a background about myself. I know Sapphire already talked a lot about me, which is overwhelming, but just so that I share my perspective, right? I've been with Accenture for last 7 years, grew from a manager to a managing director over this time. I must say that my journey has not been any less than phenomenal. I could really thrive here because I could do so many different things, working with my extraordinarily talented team who's working on cutting edge technologies like machine learning, computer vision, speech processing, virtual agents, etc. Actually, a lot about me. I'll let Reema introduce herself as well. Over to you, Reema.
Thank you, Mamta. Thanks a lot. And I must start with thanking Women Who Code community for giving me this amazing opportunity to share my journey of working and innovating at Accenture. I must say that, I joined Accenture actually straight out of college. And in just a span of 8 years, I've had the opportunity to, work across various facets of data science, be it scoping a solution or getting your head down and doing the outright coding day in and day out, creating the PI layer to actually communicate a story behind an analysis, and then of course facing the clients, talking to the stakeholders. And thanks to this immense diversity of work and opportunities that I've got at Accenture, it has helped me create an accelerated career path where I could go from an analyst role to a manager role in about 7.5 years. So, and I'm really, really looking forward to be sharing my journey and this work of innovation that, Mamta and I have put together with all of you today. So looking forward to the session. Thank you.
Thanks, Reema. Sapphire, maybe if we want to take the first poll, right? I mean, we just want to understand a little bit more about our audience expectation from us. So if you want to do that.
There we go. I've launched it now. Can everyone see it?
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks everyone for voting. We're just waiting on a few more people. Yep, thank you everyone. So I'm going to end the poll now.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, quite a few people do really want to know about the data science roles and responsibilities. You will certainly hear that. I mean, we're going to discuss a lot of aspects of what we do and, you know, how we are doing a lot of different interesting things here in Accenture. So from at least from a data science, you know, roles and responsibility from Accenture perspective, or otherwise, you know, throughout our career, how we have played this role, we'll let you know about it. Thank you for letting us know your expectation. All right. So, yeah, so, you know, I just wanted to, before we get into into the technical, you know, details about the solution, I just wanted to introduce, you know, how and why we started working on this particular solutions. It's called Intelligent Product Analyzer, right? Usually when I am as a, you know, in a leadership role, when I'm talking to the CDOs and the CTOs and CAOs, right? The chief analytical officers, data officers, and technology officers, when I'm talking to them specifically in the, you know, retail domain, what I'm hearing from them is whenever they are launching any new product, right? In order to get the product into their hierarchy, the product hierarchy takes them anything between 6 to 11 months, which is a long time, right? Nobody would imagine just to define a certain category for a product, or you know, super category, whatever, you know, group category and those things, and just understanding, you know, the product attributes, like whether the product has a, you know, certain type of packaging, or the product is, let's say, you know, let's just pick any particular category, right? If a product, let's say I'm talking about biscuits category, so if the product is made of, you know, fine flour or wheat flour and things like that, right? Those kind of details, just to know that if it is taking something like a 6 to 11 month, that's a bit too much, right? And we do so many different things for the clients, which are at times done at a SKU level. You do need to understand a lot about their, you know, product hierarchy, which category do they fall into, etc. You do need to understand a lot about the product attributes. And due to this limitation, right? I mean, the one, it takes our retailers so much time to come up with this hierarchy, and second, even if they do, right, the hierarchy defined is still not very clean data, right? At times it doesn't even exist. So as a result, you know, most of the time we end up spending a lot of time in cleaning this data, and hence, you know, I was always looking for some smart way of dealing with this issue, right? And then there are like plethora of such, I would say, client issues that we encounter on our day-to-day, you know, work life. And keeping in mind, at Accenture, we have certain knowledge sharing forums where anyone can come and showcase their work. And we as leaders are very focused on these forums, because these forums are our think tanks. You know, at times when we are listening to the solutions, we end up actually getting some clues about some of the complicated problems we are trying to solve. And this is exactly what happened in this case as well. Reema did a project on text mining to organize objects into classes in her executive data science program that she was pursuing. And she happened to present that in one of such knowledge sharing sessions. I felt, you know, listening to her story, listening to her project and the technical details, I felt that we could apply a lot of these concepts to solve the client problem that I'm talking about, right? And that's where our Jab We Met moment happened. right? We sat together, we understood the nuances, and as a result, you see this particular solution that we are going to present to you today. Right, Reema, why don't we just do a quick video to show what all we are covering in this solution, and then we can check with our audience just to hear out from them.
Sure.
Do you have thousands of products in your inventory, but poor to no data availability of product details? Are you stuck in a rut about performing better product analysis due to a non-existent or inaccurate product hierarchy? Often, lack of product information in the retail industry deters businesses from carrying out any kind of analytics beyond the stock-keeping unit level. Given how time and effort-consuming the process of procuring this kind of data is, businesses generally end up shelving projects. If this is the scenario even you are facing, we have a solution for you. Accenture's Intelligent Product Analyzer is an advanced artificial intelligence solution. Patent-backed and machine learning-based algorithms equipped to classify products into various hierarchical categories through unstructured product descriptions. A one-stop, ready-to-deploy analytical engine which organizes products into classes and subclasses using the client's pre-built product hierarchy, and even in the absence of one, recommends a general product hierarchy to fit all products. Goes one step further and extracts additional product attributes like color, shape, size, material, etc. All your cross-selling and customer profiling challenges solved at one go. The best feature of Intelligent Product Analyzer is its versatility, its applications in not just the retail industry, but even beyond. With this asset, you could perform an assortment comparison of your competitors to analyze how many products a retailer offers with specific attributes and proportion of products offered by category. Classify wordy, time-consuming customer feedback and queries into appropriate categories instead of individually going through each of them, and even extract specific details by category. Intelligent Product Analyzer is hence not just a short-term tool, it is the asset your business needs for the future.
Thank you so much, Reema. Sapphire, may I please request you to put our next poll?
Yes, I will launch it now.
Thank you.
Okay. Everyone see it? Oh, the votes are coming in. Thanks, everyone. Okay, we're just waiting on a few more people. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now and share results.
50-50. Wonderful, wonderful. But yes, I'm happy to see 50% of the people do feel that their clients are facing this problem. And I must, I can tell you, I've been working in this industry for 15 years now, right? And something, I mean, my clients have been really, really asking for this kind of a solution. And when we, got cracking at this, I am seeing so many different, clients coming, and then, all the different kind of solutions which we were not able to implement, those are now getting implemented because we've made the process of understanding their products so fast. Reema, why don't you tell us a little bit more about how did we go about doing this?
Sure, Mamta. Thank you so much. And I think this is where I'll try to blend in the, what a role, responsibility, and probably vision we data scientists have. So while, in my business school, when I was trying to solve this problem, my vision was very much limited to the data science problem that I'm trying to solve, right? Which is I'm given text descriptions and a lot of text, and I have to classify that text, right, into a particular topic. So that is the vision that I had. And at Accenture, as Mamta mentioned, there are a lot of social events. So when Mamta looked at this solution and she felt this could be of use, the next thing was to think how to apply this to a business problem in reality. So we have a lot of social events. There is analytics, a women forum which Mamta leads. So and we also have some training programs which any women can kind of attend. It helps them prepare for leadership roles, right? So at these various events where I had an opportunity to connect more with Mamta and some of the other business leaders, we could take their input as to what is the business problem that we want to solve. And that really helped us to recognize that it's not just the text classification that will come into use. But for example, Mamta, you had mentioned that to begin with, so many clients have no way to recognize which product is being talked about in a description, because these are all data terms that have never been classified and organized. So that was again a eureka moment. Oh, that text classification is probably not the means to get there. The means to get there is to have the ability to first recognize, okay, which product is being talked about in any given product description. And then of course the business would not just want to know, okay, this is the description about, let's say, a phone. A lot of times to do any analytics in retail, for example, we want to see how a particular brand is performing. So we would also want to know what brand this particular phone is belonging to, right? What is the screen size? So these are these attributes of a product which are also equally important, and they really give us the ability to go beyond the SKU level that you were mentioning in the video and actually look at analyzing the different facets. So that really gave us the shape and a vision that, okay, this is the roadmap that we need to follow. And it helped us design what we really wanted to achieve with IPA. And before we take over and talk about the architecture, I think maybe we have one more poll just to know about the audiences today, if they have probably already worked on text mining or computer vision. Safaya, could you help us with that, please?
There we go. Oh, I see all the votes coming in.
Let's give it some time for the audiences to respond to this one.
We're waiting on 11 more people. Please vote if you haven't yet. These votes are also anonymous as well. Okay. A few more came in there, just waiting on some more. Okay.
Wow. I think that's good because, for people who have worked on text mining and computer vision, you would be able to relate, some of the things that we're going to talk about. And especially for people, who are saying that they've not really worked in this domain. I must say that, there's always a starting point. So for example, when I took this up, I knew some bit of text mining. But some of the things that we wanted to do, for example, recognizing a product name. Now, That is like, creating your own NER. It's a named entity recognizer. And, just like this, there were so many other blockers that we faced. Again, I must thank Accenture's vast repository of learning and training material. So whenever we were stuck with some of this problem, we need not always had to, go and Google it. There's a lot of in-house material that, helped us that, how could we code something like this in Python? What are some of the materials that we could, leverage? And not just creating the solution, even when we are talking about, how do we deploy it to any of the cloud platforms? Accenture offers, cloud certifications at no cost to employees. So there's always that culture of, learning, culture of innovation. You would know that to build something this together, we would need a good solid set of team members, right? So even to put together that team, there is this always encouragement towards innovation, which helped us, get some like-minded people together who helped us work on this vision. And before I get into the technicalities and architecture, Mamta, if you would like to add something, on the vision and our outcome.
Sure. Thanks, Reema. In fact, you've covered it pretty well, Reema, but I just wanted to add, a few things just to let everyone know, at Accenture, like Reema said, we have such a huge repository of, training materials, or we're doing so many different, trainings, classroom trainings, etc., as well for our people. Because, Accenture, we are a consulting firm, right? We are a technology consulting firm, and we know that people are our biggest asset, right? Hence, their learning and development is at the top of our list. Globally, we spend approximately about $1 billion every year on our employees' learning and development activities. And thanks to our culture of innovation, this is one of our very, very key, important leadership DNA. Our people really enjoy taking time out to drive and build such innovative assets. It just needs one call from someone who's thinking of doing something in this area, and there'll be like plethora of people who'll come, like-minded data scientists who'll come and who would like to solve this problem with you. And in fact, our summer internship program, right, that also allows us to really bring in some fresh blood, fresh thinking, right? People who are just out of college, or they are still doing their college, they are so full of ideas, and our internship programs helps them in getting us more hands to solve these kind of problems on our on our project. But at the same time, for these interns also, it really helps them learn something really new and something really that they can feel proud of, right? In fact, I just wanted to take this opportunity, because we're talking so much about Accenture and the kind of things that we're doing. I just wanted to take this opportunity to call out that we are hiring big time right now. Okay, so anyone who thinks that they have the same zeal to learn something new, to innovate something new, they have the skills which a data scientist, data engineer, ML engineer, data analyst would have, then we are more than happy to explore the options to work together, right? Please, we'll be sharing our career page link and our hiring portions detail after this session. Please have a look at that, and do feel free to apply. Inclusion and diversity is our special focus. And given I lead the Advanced Analytics Women Forum, that's like really, really close to my heart. So, any women who want to apply will be even more happy to explore the options. All right, back to you, Reema. We want to now, just dive into the technicalities, tell people, how we went about doing it, what are the different areas we explored, and what is so innovative about it.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mamta. Yeah, so I think without, spending any other time on, discussions, let me go deep dive into what intelligent product analyzer really is, right? So what I see, what I'm showing right now is the architecture. When we started to build this, and I'll keep coming back to the amalgamation of business insights, business information, and business utility of any analytical product. So when we were trying to build it, we knew that, we would want to make something so robust that today, right now, we want to apply it to retail, but tomorrow, let's say we want to apply it to supply chain or any other industry and client. Things should be in a way that they can be reused and the same models can be leveraged. If not the same models, at least the same architecture can be leveraged, because, we are a data-driven consulting firm. So at times we don't have so much time at our hand that we build things from scratch. So that was the entire idea. And to be able to cater to those customizations, we thought that, instead of making just one engine, one unit start to end, why not we divide it into these chunks of smaller engines and smaller modules, which will take care of individual tasks, so that when we have a similar problem at hand, we may not want to use them all together, but we use only the tools that are really required for a particular problem. Let me start with an example. So at times when we go to our clients, some of the clients are very rigid, and they should be about a particular hierarchy that they might be following, right? So for example, they may only have 3 levels of hierarchy. So what do I mean by this levels of hierarchy? I think, let me take an example of Amazon. I'm assuming that most of us would have been to the website. So if you go and you navigate into any product, you would see that it always comes into categorization. So if I want to go and let's say buy watches, I may want to go to accessories and then, right? But another client or another retailer may want to fit watches into electronics and not fashion accessories, right? So what we essentially want to say is that all of these, whether you want to have 3 levels or 5 levels, and what should be the sub levels, these can be really, really dependent on a client. So we wanted to leave this way, and that is why you will say that, we first ask the client, is there a product hierarchy that you want us to leverage, or you're okay for us to create one? So depending on this, we're kicking our first module. This module is a recognizer, a product recognizer. You will see both of them here. The difference is, if the client says that they want us to follow their hierarchy, it's good. We will take that hierarchy. We will not probably try to extract the product names, but probably some additional attributes. So for example, we know that they're going to classify a particular watch into electronics and so on, but a watch may have other features, which could be, what is the battery life, right? How is it fueled, etc. So those features can be, those additional attributes can be added before we go ahead and clean the data. The second thing is, if they say they don't have a hierarchy, then we create a very generic 3-level hierarchy. This can be the case that, let's say there's a new line of business that has been opened, and they really don't know how to really, categorize, or maybe they just don't want to take that pain. So the solution will be intelligent enough to, classify similarly described products together, and then propose a simpler 3-level hierarchy, which can be leveraged by the clients before again we go ahead and start to, pre-process the data. Now, there are also 2 ways, right? One is, at the first instance, we are trying to build this entire mechanism which can spot a product name and then classify it. Wherein we are saying that, there is some amount of label data which was either present or we have created it. But in future, let's say now a new product comes in. Now you would not want to go through that pain all over again. So we will train the models in a way that they will remember how a particular product is usually described, or let's say when we are extracting an attribute like brand, what are the kind of brand names that come, how are brands really talked about, etc. So all of that information is stored in our predictive models. And then lastly, we have a sensitivity analysis. And when we go to those slides, I will talk in more details about it. But the idea is that we don't just stop at predicting the right hierarchy for a given product. We will also kind of predict the strength of our probability or the prediction. This will help us do a business trade-off, which we'll talk about in details, right? So this is just a very heavy, high-level architecture. I'll talk about some of the modules now. So for example, the name normalizer, right? Now, people who have worked in text mining, they know the pain of cleaning text data. People who have not yet worked on text mining, be aware this is the first blocker that you're going to face, that, there are no standardizations to text. Even with, so many systems in place, people and organizations tend to kind of, it's an open text, right? So you tend to kind of fill in information, using some of the not so popular acronyms and so on. So the simple, and of course, so at this point, some people may think that, why do we need a module? There are so many things that Python and R can, just clean it up and share with us. But all of those things are very standardized, right? So for example, if there's an acronym which is very standardized, for example, Facebook is called FB, maybe it will be able to pick up, right? But for example, there are some example here. Now DCF, this is not a standard acronym, right? So we compiled this entire dictionary on our own, basis our experience and some of the data that we had at hand, and also, replacing these jumble words so that we can try and create this own solution so that we are much better prepared to clean and pre-process data, right? Just a technical side point for people who may want to know that, if the data is given to us, how will we actually identify that some of these words are acronyms, etc. We leverage some of the POS tagging, right? So you can always decipher each word into a noun, pronoun, etc. And all of these words, which so they tend to be acronyms, they don't have much of a meaning. They are not really recognized by any POS recognizer. So that's how you could filter and create your own dictionary.
Just to add there, right, Reema, for some clients, right, I mean, they have some, I would say, constraints in their systems, which means that for, maybe they can only have a certain number of digits in their product code, which is allowed, right? I remember for one of our clients, it was only 4-digit number that they could use in their product hierarchy, right? Usually to identify any product, we have a numeric number, which helps us identify, distinctively that product. But if we encounter situations like this, right, where we are saying bacon barbecue burger or barbecue bacon burger, same product is actually consuming two different, product codes, right? And if they have constraints like having only a, 3-digit code or a 4-digit code, etc., then what happens is after a point, you would end up, exhausting all the numbers. And then, you'll start repeating those numbers, which will create even more confusion, right? Because you'll have same product code responding to two different products, and hence any analysis that you do later on would end up just smashing it all together, right? I mean, you'll actually be counting Cokes with barbecue burgers and things like that. So it's very, very important that we perform something like this in the beginning itself. In fact, what we're doing for our clients who are using this kind of solutions is we are, before they start ingesting the product into their system, we let them pass it through this name normalizer, right? This particular module. And as a result of it, if a name of a new product is similar to that of any of the existing products, they do a full-fledged comparison, and then they may define it differently, or they may want to just club it with a previous product with a different version, etc., etc., right? So that's how it's in practical life, in real life, this is how it's helping the clients in really making sure that their data doesn't become a junk data, right? Any information that's coming out of their systems, that is actually being insightful to them, and it's not resulting into junk in checkout. Go on, Reema.
Thank you. Thanks for the illustration, Mamta. Again, me the technical geek, I'll go back to the technicalities. So, when you're trying to, let's say, you have to develop your own NER, and again, people may think that you have Stanford and other open source NERs available. The problem with those is that any named entity recognizer usually is trained to recognize name of a person or an organization or a location, a date, or let's say a place, right? You don't have custom made normal NERs which can help you, identify, let's say, a product name within a given sentence, or the other attributes like a color or a brand name, etc. So to develop your own NER, etc., you will have to actually train the model, and this training will actually require that in a sentence, you start with which alphabets or which number of category or alphabet is where the name of the product is starting and where is it ending, etc. So all of this is if somebody even thinks of doing it manually, it's going to be a humongous task, because again, these are deep learning backed algorithms, so you need enormous amount of data to even begin to train those. So this is where we build our in-house annotator. So this will reduce your 80-85% of the task. It will just automatically tell you the starting and the ending name, and what are the it will give you an indicative of what could be the probable product names, etc. Similarly, to expand the scope of this, we also built it for other attributes, which could be the color, shape, size, brand name, etc. And this really helps you create your own custom NERs. Right, I won't be able to kind of go into a lot of details of how we are developing the NER, but this is the overall process that is deployed. Right. And then of course the cascading problem, right? Which is if let's say you are going to predict these multi-level classes, right? So for example, if I want to again, let's say there's a toy and I want to identify if it's a toy. If in the first class itself, I don't identify that, in my level 1 categorization, that is a toy or a school supply, automatically my level 2, level 3, all the subsequent classes are going to have issues, right? So it's a problem where your error, if it percolates in your initial layers, it's going to definitely multiply as you go down. So this is why solving a hierarchical classification problem is not as simplistic or straightforward as a simple or a single layer classification problem. And the reason we were able to kind of get this entire solution patented is because our entire design is intelligent enough to select a feature space and a classifier bases the description or the accuracies, right? So let me take a couple of minutes to actually, talk about what feature space here would mean, right? So, people from the data science domain, they would know that, let's say, if I have to create a customer churn model, right? When you're not dealing with text mining problems, there are, only finitely many features that you can create. For example, for churn, there are, so many things you could look at. The customer's behavior, the customer's purchases, what products they've been purchasing, etc. Right? But you can imagine that they can be, only so many, and then you can do your feature reduction, etc., and get to the right set of attributes. The problem with text is, I'm saying that, for example, the description of, let's say, a food product is given to you, and you have to identify what food product that is being talked about and what is the right classification. Now, that is where presence or not presence of an English word or some bigrams together is going to make you decide whether it really is that particular product or not, right? So that is why when you deal with text mining and you're trying to, create your corpus, and then you change your corpus to a document term matrix, there are so many terms that are used to describe a particular text, and your feature space is very, very sparse, right? That is why these problems are really more tougher to solve. Now, when we say feature space, the thing is, how will you come and you decide that, how will you do the dimensional reduction in this space, right? So there are different, and this is what we learned from our experience, then given the domain that you're talking about, a different feature reduction methodology may be better. For example, when we were talking about, clothes and apparels, there were only so many words that would come and not come when, a shirt or a neck or a, top or a skirt would be talked about. So we got to know that TF IDF, which is, when you're looking at not so common words, if you use those and do the dimension reduction, it would give you really good and accurate results. But when we talked about, let's say, bakery products, right, that's when it gets really complicated. So we got to know that, okay, maybe you can apply a chi-square test, because, again, going back to our class 12th and board exams, we would remember that Bayes theorem, right? Conditional formatting. How does, a particular description belonging to a particular class would really depend on presence or absence of a particular word. So these are some of the nuances that we could play with. And we did not go about making one model. We went about creating multiple different kinds of feature spaces and utilizing different machine learning classifiers. Then depending on, which combination gives the best result, this model would automatically pick a particular model. So for example, when we are running this through a given data set, and let's say the data set is more about food items and grocery items, it may automatically identify that a chi-square is a better feature space to pick. And from, let's say your classifiers, maybe random forest is going to do a better job. So it's going to put that combination together, validate it through the k-fold validation, look at the scores and pick that combination. And when you're, let's say, the entire mechanism remains the same, but let's say you're trying to process your apparel or clothing related data set, it will automatically choose that, let's say, your TF IDF is the right feature space to begin with. And probably here an SVM will give you an accurate result. So you don't have to go by deciding your own self that and choose that, okay, this is the right feature space and model. We don't believe that in text mining you can say one size doesn't fit all. You can just create, and that's where this stands out. This was one of the key features which stood out for us when we were applying for patent, that we had this mechanism which was intelligent enough to decide what is the right combination of model to pick given a particular data set, right? And now let me talk about killing three birds, right? Again, this is where we are gelling up the business utility with the data science solution. We are creating a data science solution where we are trying to spot a product name and classify it automatically, but that does not help the business always. The business wants to know, okay, let's say we have this, we are selling millions and millions of products and they are classified, right? And I'll tell you why this is a problem. Some of you may think that if Amazon has solved it, why doesn't everybody solve it? What we have seen is that most of the clients are now global. They are in multiple countries, so the data gets feed in from so many different units, right? So there is no standardization process, and especially clients which have stores as well as e-commerce, they face this problem. They have so many channels from where data come in that they are not able to actually assimilate all of this in a proper standardized way. So you will have just think about it. If you go to Amazon and let's say you are trying to purchase laptop, right? And suddenly Amazon starts to suggest you phones, right? Because all of these recommendation engines, at the heart of them is this hierarchy. And if you don't have that correctly, all of your suggestions, cross-selling, etc., all of those solutions are going to go for a toss. So for businesses to know whether their existing hierarchy, and we are talking about hierarchy of millions and millions of products, whether that is correct or not. And when a solution like this, we are going to, go with a solution like this, they would want to know what is the accuracy, right? And can they actually believe the prediction? That is where we said we will not stop at just making the prediction. We are going to tell you what is the probability of it. The probability here is the strength, right? So let me take this 0.8 as a threshold. Right now, I'm deciding that maybe anything with a probability of more than 0.8, I'm really confident, and the business does not even need to take a second look. They can just say that all of this has been automatically classified, right? But whenever we have, what about when the strength is weaker than 0.8, right? So what we have observed is that if it's around 0.4 to 0.8, right, you need to review product attributes, but the problem is in hierarchy. Meaning the model, when you're training the model, probably similarly classified or similarly described products are being put into two different hierarchies, right? It can happen, let's say, for example, in bakery, you have cakes and breads, right? And at times the description of a bread can be very similar to cakes, right? So that is where, the model may not be able to decide, okay, what is the right description, right classification, right? This is where some of the product attributes need to be reviewed, right? And then again, because as I was talking about, a lot of clients having stores as well, what happens is that at times their suppliers, they believe that some of the products will only be bought in store, right? So they don't really pay a lot of attention in adding any description for this entire system. They will just write 2-3 letters and 2-3 words, etc., and just be done away with. So that is where the problem is in the description of the product. So we are able to tell them that maybe a bunch of these products, you don't have to worry about them. They're automatically classified. There are these set of products where it looks like the hierarchy needs to be looked at. And then there is third set of products where we can tell you that the description itself is poor, right? So you need to go back to the suppliers and ask them to do a better job. This again turned out to be a key differentiator, because you're not saying, a lot of times people say, what is artificial intelligence and is it really going to replace human intelligence, etc. But this is a classic example where we are trying to say that the business is not going to lose control, right? They are going to be very much in this entire decision making process, where we are going to go to them and tell them that, okay, boss, we've created this entire mechanism. We are going to give you the probability, but you are going to decide the trade-off. Why we say the trade-off? Because when you have to review something, right, that's going to take effort. So they can decide. So if that threshold is 0.8%, we tell them, maybe 99% are accurately obtained and 64% are auto classified with 99% accuracy, right? If that threshold is 0.7, 98% accuracy is achieved for 70%. So they can decide whether they want to relook at 30% of the products or 20% of the products by deciding that what is the accuracy that we want to go behind.
At the same time, right? I mean, Reema did mention that we look at the accuracy, and we are saying that all those products, let's say, which are less than 40%, right? For them, we know that the description is not good enough. And that's the reason I think the next module, Reema, that you and your team is working on, right? Wherein we don't really need to have the description of the product as well. At times, even if we just have a picture of the product or a video of the product, then you can apply, some of the techniques from an image analytics domain or a video analytics domain to figure out what those products are, and then you can go ahead and define those hierarchies for those products as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we realize, the moment to tell them. Sorry, Mamta, you were adding something.
I'm saying, yeah, Reema, once you cover this one, I see someone is raising hand. So maybe, we'll just pause after this slide so that we can take up a question from Kushaka.
Sure. I'll just make it very, very quickly. I'm conscious of the time as well. So, yeah, I think lastly, we know that when we are going to go back to the business and tell them that, boss, 20% cannot be classified, they're going to say, okay, what is the other solution? That is when we said, okay, we can bring in the image analytics and video analytics, meaning if you give us the images, right, we can actually classify the products. And that's where we started to use transfer learning, where you don't have to actually, build models from scratch. There is something pre-built, and you can, use that learning and then hone it in a way that it works for you. So that's where we created this image classification, where initially the results were that if you change the orientation, etc., of the picture, we were not able to get the right results. But we worked better on the transfer learning model, and then you would see that even when a wall clock is given with a particular watch, they are being recognized correctly. And then we went one step ahead, and we said that even within a video, we can actually look at some particular objects and, break the video down into images and, apply our model. So you'd see, all of these footwear, laptops, tie, these are the things that we were trying to build it on. And looks like that we were able to hit this computer vision problem and actually identify some of these products from images and videos, just so that, we cover all ground. So if you can't give us text, at least give us images. Okay. So yeah, that's about it. And yep, as Mamta mentioned, this is the details around, if you're interested to join us, we are more than happy to welcome and, consider your candidature. So these are some of the links that will come handy. Thank you.
Thanks, Reema. Sapphire, would you mind if we take some questions as well? I think Kushagra is asking, he's raised hand for quite some time. Maybe we can let him ask.
Yeah, I'll allow him to talk now to ask the question. Okay. He's just joined us. Hello, can you hear us? Kushagra, we're allowing you to talk now to ask your question. It could have been a mistake, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
sure. Maybe we can open up for others to ask any questions. Looks like either we explained too well, or maybe it was something which just flew off their head and they don't have any questions. But yeah, I did receive some questions while Reema, you were presenting, so maybe we can take up those questions. Sapphire, there was one person who was trying to understand that they come from an IT background, but they have done a course in data science and machine learning, and they would want to apply. So I would say yes, you already now have the Spock details, where our Accenture career page is, so do apply there. We would give a due we'll do a thorough understanding of your resume, and then if we find that the kind of skills that you have, including the new skills that you acquire, if those are relevant to us, we certainly would get in touch with you. There was another person who was asking about back to work. So yes, we have, a program which is called Returnship, in that we encourage women to come and join us if they've taken a break. And it's not only limited to women, even men, if they've taken a break or if they've not taken a break, any which ways, we are hiring irrespective of any, gender or any particular, I would say, sexual orientation or anything of that sort, right? We are a inclusion and we have a strong inclusion and diversity focus, and we are open to hire anyone who has the right kind of skills and talent to help us support in solving our client problems. I see Padmaja is raising hands.
Yeah, I'll allow that. Oh, I'll allow them to talk. Okay. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Hi all. Thanks a lot for this wonderful session. I feel so, happy to see, such events happening for people like me who are on a break for now 4 years now. So I was earlier into software testing, and I'm doing data science related for the past 6 months to 1 year or so. So if I'm applying for career in data science, will any company consider me, or given my 12 years previous experience in testing, how will any company view me?
So Padmaja, it's a very good question. Okay, and I'm pretty sure a lot of folks who come from technology background would share the same, I would say, concern, right? I really want to tell you, Padmaja, given we are using machine learning and computer vision and cloud computing so much, right? It's really giving that horizon to our clients, right? It is making, and at Accenture we have this tagline called making AI everyone's business, right? So when we say that, it doesn't mean that we are just talking about the people who have strong technical data science skills. If we want to make AI everyone's business, it's not only about solving those niche crime problems, but it is also about, productionizing those problems, implementing them into, something which the client can use on a day-to-day basis. And that's where we really need people who have, strong technical skills from a testing to, pipeline creation, CI/CD, DevOps, MLOps, etc. And given it's a lot to do with now implementing machine learning algorithms, etc., a mix of skills which maybe a person has knowledge about data science, and they have hands-on experience on all the other aspects of technical skills and technologies. That's really a good combination. So of course, it can't, your 12 years of experience cannot be equivalent to a person who has had 12 years in data science, right? But a due weightage would be given to you if you apply to any organization, is what I feel.
Okay, that clears most of my fears, because I don't want to throw away my previous experience. Also, I would like to switch careers. It's like having a cake and eating it too, kind of a situation for me right now.
And I would say, Padmaja, never ever have any fears. And it's wonderful that you're sharing that fear, right? Because when you share is when you actually are taking a first step towards solving for your fear. So thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, also I have another short query in case it's allowed. Is the time allowed?
Yeah, please go on. I think we can go on for 2 more minutes. We are on top of the hour, but I think we can go ahead for 2 minutes.
So we have relocated as a family to UAE recently from India. So can I still apply for jobs from India or US for Accenture?
See, for Accenture has offices in all the different locations, right, Padmaja? So if you are in UAE, there would be openings in our Dubai office, Abu Dhabi office as well. So you might as well want to apply there, right? And these type of questions which are more specific to your special case, those you can ask to our POCs. You've seen the
Where can I get
details.
the
So
contact?
we had flashed some information in our slide deck. WWC will be making this recording available on YouTube, so you'll be able to see that again.
Sure. Thanks a lot. I'm so sorry to take up the time. Thank you so
No
much.
worries.
Wonderful job, all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Padma. Any more questions? We have 1 more minute.
We have a few more questions in the chat here. We have someone that asked, in ML related problems, me an issue with having learning transferring data across clients. How are you handling this?
Sorry, say it again.
Yeah, can I get the question again, please?
Yeah, no problem. In machine learning related problems, me an issue with having learning transferring data across clients. How are you handling this?
Transferring
Is
the
the
learning.
question around?
Yeah,
Go on, Reema.
Well, sir? Yeah.
Is the question on transferring the data or transferring the learning? Sorry, Mamta, I'm not sure if you got the questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little confusing question, but what I'm understanding is, I think Siddharth Verma is asking for this question, and he's saying that how do you transfer the learning from one, client to another? So ML is a technique, right? It's not really, a learning that you would want to transfer from one client to another, but the classic example is what Reema shared, right? Using ML techniques, text mining techniques, and a lot of other AI techniques, we are solving for this for our clients, right? Which means that solutions like this, when we come up with, which are the accelerators, those can be used from one client to another, right? But then techniques are generic, right? You can use them to solve for any of your client problems. If that answers your questions. All right. Looks like we have crossed the 5 minutes as well. So maybe we'll pause here. Sapphire, thank you so much for hosting us. And thank you, all the participants.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
everyone for attending. Thanks WWC community for giving us this opportunity. I hope that everybody who attended this today have something positive to take away. Thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone.
And I want to say a big massive thank you to Reema and Mamta and Valerie and all the Accenture India team for helping us, host this webinar and like us being able to make it possible for you to come on and deliver an amazing talk to our community. And yeah, we're just really, really happy to have you here today. And we have a lot of people that attended today. So thank you all for joining the webinar. And I've also just posted in the Accenture careers page link into the chat again for anyone that's missed it. And there's also an email you can send to Rizwana as well. So yeah, thank you everyone. I've just got some closing slides to share from WWCode. I'm going to start sharing my screen and it'll only be a few minutes.
Thank you, everyone.